Preeti live in Benares Hindu University campus in this block of flats. And I stayed in the guest house, the Alumni Centre. It was very nice too. The princely sum of $14 a night. Took me a little while to work out what the signs on above the doors meant. I worked out that G8 was ground 8, F8 was first floor 8, and S8 was second floor 8. Vish and Preeti's apartment was a compact one-bedroom unit with a thin galley kitchen and an interesting red fridge. Doors in India don't have handles and latches like we do. They have barrel bolts to keep them closed, and on the outside they have these padlocks to keep them secure. Indian bathrooms are interesting. They're basically just a wet room with toilet and shower, everything just on the one floor. And you have to get up and turn the geyser on before you can have a hot shower. And I would have thought that green and down was on. But no, red and up was on. And you had to make sure, otherwise you got a cold shower. This was the wiring for my air conditioner. It was a bit dodgy, but it seemed to work okay. And lights are on the walls in India, not on the roofs, because the ceiling fans are on the roofs. This was the street just outside the campus wall from the university. And along the street you see these water pumps so that people can have access to running water. And part of the day's chores is to go and buy the veggies, or the sabzis, which is the Indian word for veggies. That these lovely little eggplants are about the size of kiwi fruit. This is Rajdhani, who is Preeti's maid. She comes a couple of times a day and does the chores. Does the washing by hand, hangs it out, helps cut the veggies, does the housework. She was a real character, she was. And I gave her some of the clothes that I wasn't going to take back home, and she was very appreciative of them. She used to prattle away in her own language. I had no idea what she was saying.
हमारे बाल नहीं है, हाँ? हमारे बाल रहता तो ना फोटो खींचती तो अच्छा लगता। हाँ ला इतना घुघुट काट दे। कहीं ले जाओगे तो सब कोई कहेगा कि ढंग से है।
She was the maid for a couple of households on campus and used to get around on her bike. Had some shoes that needed mending, so down on the corner we found this cobbler. And he hand sewed my shoes back together for the princely sum of 40 cents. No such thing as a worn out pair of thongs in India. You buy more toe straps to put on and away you go. All sorts of different polish and bits and pieces make you look like brand new shoes. This was the local store on campus. Unfortunately, on one of our trips to the Ghats, Preeti had a tumble down that little step. But that was interesting too, because I saw Ayurvedic medicine in action. Rajdhani would massage it with turmeric and onion and would collect these leaves to put around it as a poultice. So over the next few days, Preeti got lots of attention, and we went to see an Ayurvedic doctor who also did some massaging. I got in on the act too, and Rajdhani gave me a bit of a massage. But you can see Preeti really did a good job of it, and so we had to keep her leg bandaged just to make sure she was okay for our trip to Kolkata. This is Preeti and her sister Savita. Savita lives in Varanasi as well. And this is Raj Tilak on the left and Vish on the right after a meal. Home cooked meals are quite different from what you get in restaurants. There's a mung bean salad. Seems to be more variety in the veggies that you can get at home. This is a dokla, was like a savoury cake, and it was really yummy. I really enjoyed the home cooked food. And every morning we had a milk drink. That's rose water and milk. Shops, you have to go through the security checkout to get in. And one day we went to the supermarket, and it was really interesting to see all the different brands that we have that are available in India. Kellogg's, you can see, is big. And Maggi 2-minute noodles, the masala ones, were really yummy. An odd selection of cleaning and toiletries. Brands that we're all quite familiar with. And of course Cadbury's. Cadbury's is quite big in India, expensive too. Kit Kats and McCain's, you've done it again. So there's Indian style and then the old Aussie style. Coffee, so warm that the ghee was actually liquid. Now that's just one of the rice aisles. There are about 3 or 4 more pallets of rice. This one was the spice aisle, plenty there to choose from. And this one was the legumes or the pulses aisle, all the dal. And then you had to get everything checked as you went out just to make sure it was what you bought. One evening, Savita, Preeti and myself went to Rajdhani's, the maids, for dinner. That was a really interesting experience. A very basic accommodation, one room for 5 people. And there are actually 4 generations that lived in this one small area. It was dirt floors throughout and there was cooking on the open fire there. The goats had a room of their own though, so they were well looked after. This was the pump in the middle of their little compound area so that they did have water close by. Here's Rajdhani's husband and daughter doing some of the cooking. And these were like damper that we had for our dinner that were cooking in the coals of the fire. Just looking back into their room, as you can see, very basic. Rajdhani was very proud to have us there and it was quite an unusual event for us to go. They had some baby goats that the kids liked to bring out and have patted. And this was one of the specialty, the food that we had for dinner. It was quite yummy. Lots of these little geckos around on the walls. And this is Rajdhani's family. She has one more daughter who's married and moved away. Then this is the whole family, the 4 generations all there. And I like Rajdhani because she made me feel tall. This was in the brother-in-law's area. He was an electrician, so they had mod cons like air conditioning and a TV. The study book's out. The kids are very keen on their education. And this was the great-grandma who lived with them. This was her son and his wife, Rajdhani's parents-in-law. And so before we set off to Kolkata, I had to buy another suitcase to fit all my new purchases in.